Good morning, everybody. We will go again. So for those of you that are watching this on the replay, I did just start a live stream and then somebody knocked on my door. I'm having some work done on my house and that is why. So I'm hoping that those of you that were on just before will come back into the room. And today we are discussing body confidence and body positivity. And body confidence, body positivity has been something that's been highly requested in my talks. And so I'm really glad that this week on my social media, I can see some laughing faces. Yeah, I had to just run off there. The annoying thing is I'm getting work done on my house and I just messaged him before to say, like, don't message me. Don't knock. You don't need to knock. Just crack on. It's in the back garden, you see. And he's just said, sorry, just read this. Never mind. Good morning, Hannah. Good morning, Hannah on Facebook. So those that are just coming in now, I am live on Facebook in my Facebook group, the Happy Me Project Facebook group. If you are not part of this group and you are coming in from elsewhere, please do feel free to join this group. It's an amazing supportive group, a lovely group of people, and you are more than welcome to come in there. I'm also seeing you on my Facebook page, the You've Got This Academy Facebook group, part one. The guys, my first batch of You've Got This Academy people, YouTube and Periscope. So welcome to you all wherever you are. If you are on Facebook, I won't necessarily be able to see your name unless you allow StreamYard, which is what I'm using to let me see that, but that's okay. Welcome, Sean. Welcome, Lawrence. I'm very good this morning. Thank you very much. And I'm excited to say that this whole week on my social media will be focused around body positivity and how we respond to ourselves. And the reason for this topic is that certainly here in the UK, we have been told that potentially by June 21st, I think it is, things will be returning to, Sean is here in Australia. Welcome, Sean, and it's in the evening in Australia. Wonderful, welcome from down under, as we call it here in the UK. The reason for this is that June 21st, things are apparently returning, as in the pubs and bars and whatever are opening up. And so there's been a lot of rhetoric on social media about, I need to get slim for June. I need to get fit. I need to lose the pandemic podge. And that's been a conversation. Hi, Grace. Grace is in Dubai. Welcome, lovely. And I think that's a really unhealthy attitude. I think it's a really unhealthy attitude. Welcome, Kaylee, on YouTube as well. And so I wanted to talk about it because I think it's a really important thing that we do, and that we don't feel bad about ourselves. I don't want you to feel bad about yourselves. I really don't. And thank you, Sean. Sean's just followed me on Twitter. Amazing. I don't want you to feel bad about yourself. I want you to feel good about yourself. And so for those of you that have never heard me speak about body confidence, I don't want you to come into this thinking that as a 36-year-old confident woman, as I am right now, that I always was that way, because I wasn't. I grew up on television as a TV actress, which gave me lots of body image issues in that I had to see my face all the time. I mean, these days, a lot of people have YouTube channels or you see yourself on your camera phones, but then we didn't have access to that. And so it was unusual for me to have access to seeing my face on a screen and then being broadcast for the world to judge. And also in really formative years, I was a teenager growing up on telly. We all know that our teenage years are full of hormones and we're all awkward in our ever-changing bodies and we just feel really weird about ourselves. And I was not immune to that. It just meant that I wasn't immune to that. I was living that experience in the public eye, and that was really a weird experience. I mean, I don't know any different, but looking back, I can see how that had an impact on me. No worries. I can see people who can't listen in. Just watch on the replay. It'll be there for you. Good morning, Amy. Good morning. I can see Rihanna, and I can't see what you've said, and maybe you've just clicked it off beforehand. And Sean says, everyone has ups and downs when it comes to self-confidence. Absolutely. And even as I say, I'm a confident person right now. That doesn't mean that I don't have days when I think, and I don't feel good about the way that I look. Everyone, we're human beings. And our job in terms of any of our positive mindset stuff or how we feel about ourselves is not to be some kind of weird idealistic perfection, where we always feel confident and we always feel happy, because that's unrealistic, isn't it? But what we would like to be is that we oh, thank you so much. I can see a lovely comment on Facebook as well. I can't get over the way you help people out, Holly. That's so lovely. I do my best, and the same with all of us, right? And so our job is to try and help, is to try and feel good more than we don't. It's to try and feel confident more than we don't feel confident. And if we can get that balance right, then we largely feel okay most of the time. Now, in terms of good morning on Facebook, I can't see who that is, but good morning with the heart. There's lots of reasons why we do feel bad about ourselves, and we have so much access to reasons to feel bad about ourselves. When we go on social media, when we go watch our TVs, there is so much pressure on all of us, male and female, to look a certain way, to project a certain image, and there's a lot more pressure than there's ever been for it, and there's a lot more reason for us to compare ourselves, and it is such nonsense. Honestly, seriously, it is such nonsense, and we put just a crazy amount of pressure on ourselves, and I hate it. And my own experience growing up, it was, I didn't have that level of experience in terms of social media. Wasn't a thing when I was growing up, thankfully, but because of being on television, it did give me that access to other people's opinions of me. People would comment on things, and I remember, and I've probably shared this with most of you before, I think, but not all of you. But I remember, and the first time when I first got a job on the TV show that I was on, I remember going into the makeup room, and I was the new girl, and that walking in, that awkwardness. And there was the other girls who'd been in the cast for a bit longer, and they were older than me, a bit more comfortable in themselves and makeup and all of that. And here's me, 11, just turned 12. I think I just turned 12, 11 years old, walking in, and my hair's all fluffy in its natural state, and I'm all gappy teethed, like teeth haven't quite come together yet. I'm starting to get spots, and just awkward, and not sure of myself, didn't know how to do makeup. I was on a show called Biker Grove as a kid, so my early start of television was on that children's TV show. And I walked into that makeup room, and the makeup artist was gushing about the other cast members, the ones that she knew. So she's like, "Oh, you look amazing, you look so good, your hair looks great." We used to get 6 months off, so people would change a lot. So she was gushing about these older girls, and she looked at me, and she turned to face me, and she went, "Oh, you've got really bad skin." And that was my first thing. Hi, Reese on YouTube there. And it was my first feeling of like, I'm ugly. A makeup artist has said I'm ugly. And she hadn't said that, but her, and it was not her fault. She just, probably a little bit uncaring when you're dealing with young children. She was dealing with me as she would have probably dealt with an adult. And I wanted the ground to swallow me up. And so that was the first memory I can think of in my mind of, you're not good enough, and you're ugly, and you're not enough. And I was really skinny as a child, really skinny. I know that Anupa, who's in this chat as well, Anupa has shared her own experience with me and on her social media about being a slim person. And I guess we think sometimes, don't we, that people who are skinny, that it's like, well, you get away with it, you've got skinny privilege, and so you don't feel bad about the way that you look, because the world tells you that that's okay. But it's not. That you get the same either end of the spectrum. If you're bigger than the expected norm, or you're slimmer than the expected norm. I used to have all sorts of things said to me. Do you have to dance around in the shower to get wet? Was one. I used to get my skinny little legs laughed at, and I felt awful about that. It didn't, it really, in my mind, and in fact, actually, when we were younger as well, you would often hear, skinny girls hear boyish. I used to hear that, like, you've got a boyish figure. It's boyish to be skinny. And so I internalized that. I look like a boy. The other thing as well is that my dad has dark hair. My dad's really dark. And my mom's really blonde, and my sister's blonde, and we're totally different shapes, totally different versions of figures and everything. And so when I was growing up, and you've got Barbies have got blonde hair, and they're skinny, but not too skinny, and well, they actually really are, but they had boobs and a bum. And so when I was like young, in my mind, well, I don't look like Barbie. I'm dark, and I've got you've got dark hair and dark eyebrows, and I'm skinny, and I'm boyish. And so I really internalized all of those things and carried them with me for a long time. And I know that so many of you will have had the same experience, whatever end of the spectrum that you're on, whether you're bigger, whether you're slimmer, whether it's your hair color, whether it's your skin color, whether it's whatever it is. We all internalize these stories that somebody else gave us. And sometimes we carry these stories on, and we become the bully. We become the one that has the unkind words, and we look at ourselves in the mirror, and no longer is it the makeup artist or the girl from school that said that thing. We take on that mantle, we take on the name calling, and we internalize it, and we become the bully for ourselves. And it doesn't matter what changes on the outside, because for me, you know, I grew up and I mean, I didn't get massive boobs, guys, let's not go wild here, but you know, I got boobs and a bum and I was still petite, but I grew up into a woman, and you know, my skin got better, but I couldn't see that. And so I would cake on the makeup. Thank you so much, Marie. I would cake on the makeup, and for many years makeup was my mask. You know, I would layer on the fake tan, layer on the mask of makeup, and my hair was done and my nails were done. And as much as I still love playing with makeup and hair stuff, and I do take a lot of care in my appearance, it's for a different motivation. I now understand, because I've done work on myself, that this is not the most important thing, and I don't feel bad about myself on the inside. I no longer call myself names, and this has been a process for me, guys. And the reason I'm sharing my experience with you first is because I know it's very easy to look at me now. I know I'm attractive. I don't think I'm ugly. I'm all right. I'm attractive by Western beauty standards. I tick a box, right? And I know now, as a grown-ass woman, that's a load of bollocks, and no one cares. It doesn't matter. It's not important. But equally, I also feel good on the inside, and that's what's important, because sometimes we can see the most beautiful women, the most attractive men, and we can look at them from our outside eyes and go, well, they've got it all together. I bet they feel great about themselves every day. I wish I was as pretty as them. I wish I was as handsome as them. And we've got no idea whether they love themselves on the inside and whether they feel good about that. And often they don't, you know, and that's the sad fact about it. Kaylee says, I've always had dark hair, eyes. I was skinny as a child, but my mum would never allow me long hair, so I always felt boyish. It's funny, isn't it? We get all of these things from other people's stuff. And someone's just saying, I think women and girls are the worst for attacking looks as soon as they throw an insult. Yeah, of course. It's because we're taught to, right? We're taught to do this. Hi on Facebook. Anupa says, we don't know what anybody else is paying. We really don't. Yeah, and Anupa saying, it stopped me from talking about it, and it's so awful how appearance is so important. And I just want to give you a little thing to think about, right? This is really grim, but we as human beings are literally just rotting bits of flesh from the minute we are born to the minute we die. We are rotting bits of flesh. We are a meat suit. We are not, it's not as important as we give it credit. It's not that important. It really isn't. And as long as we can recognize that the outside stuff is play, it's pretend, it is a mask. You know, we are wearing masks. We're playing different things. We're playing different roles when we dress up and how we wear things and what we want to project to the world. But it's not real. It's just, you know, how we look and what we're given in terms of our physical selves, it's part luck, guys. Like, we haven't done anything to deserve it. The most attractive, beautiful women and men in the world didn't do anything to get the genes that they got. Like, it's just genetic pot luck, right? Whether you're whatever physic you are, what you look like, it's a bit of your parents, and that's it. Like, it's a strange pressure that we put on ourselves. And Upa says, that's why I want to start work with the young and children growing up, accepting all differences and learning to love the skin. And it's so important that we do this and that we talk to our children and younger people and remind them, because the pressure will be so much more heightened because of social media. So let's just quickly talk about social media. And I know we talk about this in terms of positive mindset in general, but just really being aware of the influences and the things that you're looking at online. And not being critical. I'm not being critical of anybody that you're following, because those women, those men, they have the same stuff that we have, and they're watching the same things. They have the same influences, and they're just trying to get by as well. But when you're following somebody who, let's say, is the ideal of Western perfection in terms of beauty, and it makes you feel bad, why are you following them? If it doesn't make you feel good, and you feel that by following that person, it makes you instantly critical, it's pointless. Now, I read something yesterday, and I wrote it down because I thought it was a really nice little way of thinking about things, because when we're in that headspace of comparisonitis and we're comparing ourselves, we forget that other person is a human being, and we might even get a little bit mean about it. You know, well, she's this and she's that. You know, Kim Kardashian would be a prime example. She's had a lot of work done on her body. I would say that the work she's had done on her body was because of the pressure that she has felt to look a certain way, and her desire to look a certain way, and a lack of feeling amazing in her inside self. She's absolutely stunningly beautiful, whether you like her style of, you know, makeup and everything and surgery is irrelevant. She was always an attractive woman, and the pressure, you know, to follow the pressure that she has under her, it would be very easy, wouldn't it, to be critical and just be like, oh, she's had loads of surgery done, so what, she's got a team of people around her and all of that. But that doesn't make us feel good. When we're in that resentful space, that doesn't make us feel good. So I saw this little thing, I've written it down. So rather than thinking to yourself, whether this is the girl from work, good morning Alicia, good morning Blind Life on YouTube, and Marie says, on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, you see the perfect filtered photos of women, even men posing, and most thrive on likes and validation, but most of them, yeah, have insecurities. Absolutely. And again, I don't want to be critical of those people, because equally, I understand they're part of this same circus. They're part of this same system, yeah. Alicia, don't worry, you're not late, it's cool, all good. So I saw this yesterday, and it just said to remind yourself, when you find yourself in a space of going, she's prettier than me, right? And that kind of resentful sort of space, whether it's a girl at work or your sister-in-law or Kim Kardashian, rather than thinking that, or once you hear yourself thinking that, shifting it round to thinking, I wonder if she's having a good day. I wonder if I could compliment her. And by doing that, it helps you to see that other woman or that other man as an ally, as a human being, as an equal, as somebody who is just trying to work through shit as well, right? Rather than thinking, resentful, she's had all that work done, nah, it's easy for her, nah. Yeah. Or like a snarky, think, I wonder if she's having a good day. I wonder if I could offer some kindness to her. I wonder if she's okay. Because it's too easy to sit in that space of judgment. And when we do, we actually don't feel very good about ourselves, okay? And Anupa says, how boring the world would be if we all look the same. It is so true. And this is the next thing, is to really consider that there is so many different versions of beauty, right? There is so many different versions. God, when I was growing up in the early 2000s and in the 90s, the look was blonde hair, big boobs, way thin body, skinny body, and you know, no bum, no everything, just skinny but big fake boobs, that and pencil thin eyebrows, and I didn't fit that at the time, but I've waited it out, and my turns come for a little bit, as in like big bums are back, big bums and skinny bodies were all right. I had that, and it was not a thing, and in fact it was odd before. Now people are celebrating that. Whatever your body type, just give it a little time, because these things come round and round, and there'll be something else. And the truth is, there's just, I know we throw about the words, don't we? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I don't know if we really internalize that and understand. There is different people are attracted to different things, and the Western idea of beauty is not the only version of beauty. You know, in the Western world, there's very much this preoccupation on slimming down, thinning yourself down. Like, it's such a preoccupation on this. And yet, if you look in parts of Africa and many parts around the world, in fact, I did a little research on this the other day and I've forgotten all the places, but anyway, there's loads of parts of the world where being much bigger is seen as much more attractive. And makes sense, doesn't it? Because in parts of the world where there's very little money, somebody being bigger, what does that mean? It means wealth. It means you've eaten well. It means you're healthy. It means you're not so, like, I get it, right? And so it's a reminder that we don't have to sit in these norms. Like, there are so many different versions of beauty. I'm so glad Marie says she needed to see this live today. I'm really glad. And this is important to me, because we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves now, and we're calling ourselves a lot of names, some of us, right? You could be sat there going, well, I've put on all this weight. I've not been eating well. I've not been exercising, and I feel rubbish and I look disgusting. And there's this pressure. We're going back out into the world soon, and there's going to be more normality, and I'm going to see people, and we're getting into this spiral of name calling of ourselves. And we have to recognize, listen to this, guys, we just went through and are going through a global plague, right? You've survived, because you're talking to me on here, a global pandemic where thousands and thousands of people have not survived. And you putting on a bit of bloody weight, or, you know, not drinking enough water and your skin's gone a bit bad and your hair's a mess, you've got grey hair, right? Whatever. You having those things pales into insignificance when we think about the fact you've survived a global pandemic. Your body has got you through. And some of you have experienced the coronavirus and you've come through it because your body pulled you through it. That's incredible. We should be so grateful to our bodies. So grateful. And Alicia's just saying, who decides what beautiful is or not? Subjective. The most important thing is to be fine with ourselves. And I cannot stress that enough. We must start within, because nobody outside of us is going to ever be able to validate us if we don't feel good. And we know this to be true, because if you feel rubbish about yourself and somebody offers a compliment, it doesn't even land. You can't hear that compliment at all. Can't hear it. Can't hear the compliment because you don't feel good in yourself. It's only when you feel good about yourself that somebody can offer you a compliment and you can say thank you. And you can really feel good about that compliment. So we have to start on the work we do on ourselves. And I can see on Facebook, somebody saying, I'm a size 14 to 16 and I'm bloody gorgeous, just like everyone is gorgeous. Our bodies are amazing and what we look like doesn't define us. Amen to that. Absolutely. There is beauty in every version, every size, every color, every hairstyle, whatever it is, there is beauty within that. And truly, and I remember this in the book, The Twits by Roald Dahl. There's a bit in that, and I'm totally paraphrasing, but there's a bit about how when you are a beautiful person, as in a kind and loving and warm human being, that beauty shines out of your face. And that's so true. Maxine says, Mel Robbins was talking the other day about how she high-fives herself in the mirror instead of criticizing herself as a way of shocking herself out of the habit. Love that. That's incredible. I love that. High-five yourself. Yes, let's do this. Like, you feel good about yourself. So let's start today by thinking about how we can be grateful for our bodies, how we can thank our own bodies for being here with us, for getting us through some stuff. Some of you will have had children. Some of you will be able to touch your toes and go for a run and jump up and down and do cartwheels, whatever your body has got you. Some of you have been through some really tough physical health stuff. Some of you still are, but your body is getting you through. Even on the days when it doesn't, even on the days when it does feel like it's letting you down a little bit, you're here and your body is doing its very best for you. And the more that we can focus on our gratitude around that. Like, I did yoga this morning, and because I knew I was doing this talk, I really thought about this, and I really thought about the fact that I'm so lucky to have a body that is able to stretch and do things and bend and run up and down the stairs and do. And I really thought about this because it's so easy to overlook this, isn't it? Because we just take it for granted. If we've never experienced difficulty with our bodies and our physical selves, then we can't really understand it, until you have something taken away, then you understand it. Then you understand and feel really, truly grateful for your bodies and for your health. And somebody on Facebook saying, when I taught in Thailand, all the women there would buy skin whitening products as white was seen as beautiful, then come back to the UK and we all buy fake tan products because we want to be darker. And isn't that the truth? Like, that's the truth in itself. There's really no one version of it. You've just got, and I'm not even criticizing, please don't think I am criticizing somebody who wants to change the way that they look or even have plastic surgery. I sometimes have Botox in my head. That's my choice. That's my choice, my body. And it's not because I hate myself, just like the fresher look. That's up to me. And I'm not criticizing those of you who have changed your physical body, and I will not judge somebody who has. My only concern when it comes to plastic surgery is always that if there's no end goal, if in your mind it's not like, oh, I get a nose job and I feel better about myself now, and then wicked, do your thing. If it's, I get a nose job and then I do something else, I get this fillers and boob job and I need this done, and it will never be enough. In which case, that is nothing to do with the physical self. That's to do with you not feeling good on the inside, and then there's work to be done there. But I will not criticize anybody when it comes to that, because we're all just doing our best and we're just trying to feel our best selves. Michelle says, I let my insecurities known to friends. Now I've heard that said behind my back. I need to teach myself to ride above that. Well, yeah, I would agree with what somebody else has said on Facebook there as well, is that is not the best supportive network of friends. Because certainly at a certain age, I mean, I would expect that kind of behavior of, you know, young teenage girls, not of grown women. And we have to remember that when people spend their time criticizing other people, it's because they don't feel good about themselves. Happy, confident people don't criticize other people for the way that they look. Like, they just don't. I've got high self-esteem. You will see me and I will actively, because I love a compliment, I will actively come up to you and say, you look amazing. Oh my God, you look incredible. Your skin is so good. Be dead specific. And that's the truth. Confident people don't need to do that. And so when somebody does that behind your back, when you hear of those things, or somebody says something mean, think to yourself this, reframe it and think, they must feel really bad about themselves. And I really do pity them. And I feel sad for them, and I'm just going to and offer love. It's such a weird thing. You don't have to say this to them, Michelle, but it's to, in your mind, go, they must be in a really bad place. And I'm not, it doesn't mean you have to spend time with them. That definitely means that there should be other people that you surround yourself with who will love and support and compliment you. But equally, you should think to yourself, okay, that's interesting, because happy people don't do that. They just don't. End of story. And so if they're not doing that and they're not being supportive friends, then there's a better tribe out there for you. And I know that's hard sometimes, because sometimes these people have been in our lives for a long time, but that's not an adult way of behaving, is it? Another thing to think about is doing affirmations. And I like affirmations, and I know they're a bit of a contentious subject sometimes, because they are working on a conscious level, not a subconscious level. But affirmations, so affirmations are positive sentences that we say in the present tense, and we say them and we repeat them and we affirm them to ourselves to help to train our brain to see the world differently. So when it comes to body positivity, it can be really challenging, because that voice, that noisy bully voice that's in our head that wants to tell us we're too fat or too ugly, or our bums aren't big enough, our boobs aren't big enough, our boobs are too big, our bum's too big, whatever, right? Whatever the noise is going on, that's loud and it's sometimes very ingrained. So we have to really work hard to fight against that. And sometimes when we first start out doing affirmations, you'll hear people, and I did hear somebody in a Clubhouse room. I don't know if anybody's on Clubhouse yet, but I was in a Clubhouse room the other day, and there was a lovely lady, and it's not a criticism of her, it's just where she is on her journey, and perhaps hasn't experienced some of the deep levels of self-hatred that I had experienced. And so she was offering affirmations as a solution. Absolutely down with that. It's a really easy, low bar way of doing something for yourself every day. But what she was saying is, stand naked in the mirror. And I've heard this said, but I think you've got to be well down your line of personal development and confidence to be able to do this. I don't stand in front of the mirror and tell myself I look beautiful to feel that. But this is what she was saying to people. Stand in front, look at your body, tell it it's beautiful. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. And if you want to do that, then go do you, boo. But equally, I understand that there's many of you going, absolutely not going to do that, because as soon as I stand in front of the mirror, I'm not going to feel good. In fact, my sister once said, and it made me laugh so much, do you know the line from Home Alone? Look what you did, you little jerk. And it cracked me up. My sister said that sometimes, like, she just looks at her body. She's like, I've ruined this body. And she said, I sometimes look in the mirror and think, look what you did, you little jerk. And it really tickled me when she said that. But so I know that a lot of us, if we stand naked in front of the mirror, when our noisy negative brain's going to kick off. So in terms of affirmations, it's trying to start small and work the way up. This is the thing always for affirmations. But when I started to do this to try and feel good about my body, because I got sick of calling myself names, I was bored of my own bullshit. I'd had enough of it. So I was on the True Geordie podcast, Kizzy Dance on, what are you on? I've forgotten what the name of it is. I keep forgetting. What's it called? The Twitter one, the Twitter stream. I forget what it's called, but anyway, I was on the True Geordie podcast. So in terms of, it is about, hi Ava on YouTube as well, thank you. So working your way up. So when I was trying to work on myself, I would say, I couldn't have stood in front of the mirror and said, you are beautiful, because I'd have just felt like a knob. So instead, I said, I'm okay. And that was all I could get. I'm okay. And then eventually I got to, I look nice sometimes. I look nice. Periscope, thank you, Anupa. I look nice sometimes. And then maybe I could get to, after a few months of doing that, I could get to, you look nice today. I could get to that. And from there, now at 36, I can say I am beautiful. And that doesn't mean that I don't see any flaws in my body. Of course it does. I see the flaws, the perceived flaws, but now I try to send love to them and I try to understand the reason for them. I've got stretch marks on my stomach. I don't like them. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and say, I love my tiger stripes. I don't find that easy to do because there was a change in my body. That's a hard transition, isn't it? When your body changes, when it's not for any fruition of you doing anything but having a baby. But I do remind myself of how small and insignificant that is. In fact, when my husband was alive and he had a scar across his head from 2 brain surgeries, right? I remember us laughing about how I had cried when I got stretch marks after having my first daughter. Bearing in mind, guys, I was so small when I got pregnant. I was like 7 stone, just over 7 stone, and you know, your belly's got to stretch, guys. There's no, like, of course it's going to. And I cried my eyes out afterwards when my stomach went down and there were stretch marks, and I was so gutted and it weirded out by my change in my body. And I remember when Ross, my husband, had his scar and stuff, and we just laughed about how nothing a few stretch marks and a bit of saggy skin is. Like, just nothing. It's nothing in the grand scheme of things. And so now I might not love them, but I look at them and I go, they're like, my whole body is brilliant. It serves its purpose. It's attractive. I'm happy with myself, and I work on that all the time because we have to do that to feel good about ourselves. Thank you, Kitty Dance on Periscope. I keep forgetting the name of him. Who says keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Nupa says not even flaws, just part of our story. And of course it is. And this is the same with all of our body. Our bodies will change and grow. As I said at the beginning, we're just meat. We're just meat, rotting and dropping. Like, that's it. Okay, so Emma says, hi, how do you deal with body image with your girls? As in, do you let your girls see you naked or let them be naked at home? It's tough to be open with the little ones, but also teach them to be authentic. Yeah, so I am naked in front of my children, but and I've always talked about bodies and things like that. I've always talked about everything from your, all of your bodies, including your vaginas, your vulvas. Let's not get weirded out about it. And if I had boys, I would talk about penises, and I wouldn't be uncomfortable about it because our children don't necessarily know what other people's bits look like, and so they feel weirded out. And so I've always talked very openly about body and body hair or not body hair or whatever, and I'm very open in terms of that with the girls. As they've got older, I have introduced, because my girls are now 8 and 9, Brooke's nearly 10, I do now have I offer a level of privacy, and I expect the same from them. So they will knock if they come in the room. I'm not embarrassed if they see me naked or anything, like, that's not an issue. And the same with them, but equally I want them to feel, empowered enough that they get to choose whether I see them naked or not. I don't want to, as they're now old enough, I don't think it's fair for me to just assume that that's okay, because I like to give them options. But in terms of, we talk a lot about body image because I'm so aware, having gone through my own stuff, that I want them to feel good about themselves. So I show my children Facetune. I've shown them how much people doctor their images online. I've shown them how much things aren't real. I remind them that normal veins in your face, I've got veins on my nose and blackheads and all sorts, and this is very good lighting. I definitely have dark circles a bit under my eyes because I sleep very little. And I might have got away with this stuff when I was a kid, but now I don't. And it's all okay, right? And that's what I always say to my children, that it's really okay to talk, to know about bodies, to understand our bodies, to love our bodies, to love our skin, to understand there are so many different versions of beauty, and that the one that we get spoon-fed is not it. Alicia says, my belly's full of stretch marks. I always say I had a cuddle from Freddy Krueger, the horror guy. Yeah, well, I never, in front of my children, I always say, look, I'm glad I've got these stretch marks, because these stretch marks are because I have 2 amazing children. And I might not want the stretch marks on my body if I could click my fingers, but I don't want to change anything that's happened. And Upa says, yes, you're talking about early and making it all. It massively does need to, we get, certainly in the UK, we're very prudish about our bodies, aren't we? We're very prudish about bodies and sex and all things, any, you know, we're just very funny about that kind of stuff. We don't like to talk about it. I'm not uncomfortable talking about any of that stuff, and I don't think it should be an issue. I think it's an important conversation about all of this stuff, about, you know, boobs coming in and all that stuff that I've got to come with my children. But I didn't have those conversations growing up, and so I just internalized stuff like a lot of us do and go, is my body right? Does it look right? You know, and we get all awkward about it. Kaylee says, I've always been very open with my girls because I had many ops when I was younger, so things are different in some ways for me. I've never been embarrassed to be honest with my girls about it all. That's wonderful. It's really important. And it's just, you know, having those conversations, I don't think we can underestimate. Thank you, Marie. My eyebrows are microbladed on, but I have penciled them in a little bit today. I'm allowing them to be their fullest self today, going in on it. I know it's not everybody's style, but I love my eyebrows as well, Marie. I do. I send them love. Yeah, I think it's important. The more we talk about this stuff and the more we normalize these conversations, and just talk about normal bodies. On the other side as well, just quickly, because I know we haven't got loads of time together, but another thing is the body positivity movement. I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with the movement itself. And the reason for that is the movement started for the best intentions, and the body positivity movement, as it's called online, and was intended for girls that were bigger than the average, and who wanted to kick back against what they were seeing in the media and the press and social media, as that's the only version of beauty. And I fully support that, because it's not the only version of beauty. But what I've noticed is that with that movement comes an anger against slimmer people. And I'm not talking about those that starve themselves. It's a totally different thing. I'm talking about, I'm a size 6, I'm 5'1", I'm a small person. I've always been that way. I don't deprive myself anything. I try to eat healthy, but not really, because I'm always stuffing biscuits in my face. So, you know, I try to move, but I'm very average in terms of my level of, I guess, healthy eating and exercise. But yeah, I'm still a small person. And the body positivity movement sometimes errs on the side of, rather than everybody is like, let's find beauty in all sizes, it's let's find beauty in our size, but not your size. And that's the opposite of what body positivity is, in my opinion, in that we shouldn't be pitting each other against each other. I'm not ever, I support anybody of any size. Be the best version of your version. Look after yourself. I'm absolutely an advocate of health. So if somebody is severely obese, I'm not going to stand there and go, well done, that's great for your health, because it won't be, regardless of the reasons. I understand the reasons we get there. In the same way, if somebody's on the skinnier side, which I've been there as well, when my husband died, I lost far too much weight. It wasn't healthy. I wasn't applauding that either. So I'm not going to applaud unhealthy attitudes to food either way. I'm only going to support you through that. But I find that unfortunately it feels as if you can't sit with us. Like, that's how I feel about the body positivity movement. And that's a sad fact, because I'm fully an ally of other women and other men who, and feeling good about themselves. I'm an ally. I care that you feel good about yourselves, but there's definitely an you can't sit with us attitude. And I think that's a shame, because we can support each other in that, and we can support each other in and be there to go, it's okay to be every shape and size. But I don't like this vibe of, but not you. And also Anupa saying, yes, I've talked about body positivity and what it actually means. I use the term positive body image. Yeah, I think so, because I think unfortunately using body positivity is a definite group, and it seems to have been hijacked, unfortunately. And Emma says it's health over scales. Yeah, you can be slim and have your hair falling out and bones hurt without. Exactly. Like, I often say there are times in my life when I'm a fat, thin person. Like, I'm not necessarily like being the best version of myself. Like, and that doesn't matter what version you are. It is about health. It really is. And it's not even this strong as the new skinny, which was a slogan that kind of got pushed out, because I actually think that has become another way to pit us against each other. That's all it's become. Strong as the new skinny doesn't mean health. What it means, when you actually look at it, when you look at what people are posting about, is ripped is the new skinny, as in another obsession with the way that we look. And I just don't think any of these extremes are good for us. And all they do is make us pick ourselves apart. We can be the best version of ourselves, whatever shape, whatever color skin, color hair, whether you've got hair, whether you haven't got hair, whether you're fat, thin, big boobs, small boobs, no bum, loads of bum, whatever. You can be the best version of you, and that's what you should be focusing on. And every day, just focusing on how can I be kinder to myself and thank my own body for being here with me and getting me through all of this stuff. And certainly over the last year, we've all been through a ton of stuff in a global pandemic. And if it just so happens that you've put on a few pounds, so what? You did all right. You've done your best that you can. It's been tough. It's been a lot, and it continues to be. So just be kind to yourself and focus on gratitude of your body and where it's at right now, wherever you are at, and just take tiny, small steps every day. And lastly, focus on today, smiling more. Okay, let's think about that quote from, that I can't remember, in Roald Dahl's The Twits, where it talks about when we smile, when we shine out our inner beauty into the world, we are so much more beautiful. And you will feel good, because when we smile, when we laugh, we release all of these endorphins in our bodies and we actually feel better. So let's start with that. Let's just stop being the inner critic, the bully to ourselves, and focus on being our best version, and also being kind to other people. So every time you feel that niggling feeling in your mind of, yeah, they look amazing, but they've had plastic surgery, or I bet they don't eat, or whatever thing comes up for you, ask yourself, I wonder if that person's okay. I hope they're all right. I'm going to send them love. I'm going to offer them a compliment. I'm going to be an ally of my other fellow human beings. And Kaylee says, I try and embrace my no hair due to psoriasis, and I don't always wear my wig. And you look incredible without your wig, by the way. I mean, it's fun to play with the wigs, but you look incredible without it. And Uber says, it's also okay that we don't love every part of our body. That's okay as well. I just said that I don't love my stretch marks. If I could change them, I would, but I don't hate on them. I just think, okay, you're there. And it's okay. We don't have to put so much pressure on yourselves. You're very, very true. And Anupa says, smiles are our best feature. They really are. When you smile, and Alicia says, when you smile, the world smiles to you. Absolutely. And I'm just seeing on Facebook, I've always been tall, and my daughter is the same. Age 11, she is 5'7" and size 8 feet. People think it's fine to say, wow, she's big. I always reply with, yes, she's always been very tall. But inside the shamed 11-year-old in me burns with memories. Language is so important. That is so true. That is so true. And maybe something that all of us can consider before we make a comment. I think that is true. And 5'7" and size 8 feet she's just gorgeous. She's just been gorgeous and tall and lovely. And yeah, and this is the thing. We just have to remind ourselves that our language matters. You're right. People sometimes comment, and I used to get it in terms of being skinny as well. People would comment very easily, very freely, I was too skinny or too skinny, and it's like that doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make your daughter feel good either. Or the fact that you can you feel that as well, like you remember how that felt in yourself. And so I'm just listening to reading the comments there as well. And I'm glad that you needed to hear that, Kaylee, and that you heard it. So guys, let's do make sure that you tune into my social media on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere this week, because this is what we're going to be talking about all week. And I have a little child coming in. Hello. Right, actually, you can offer some.
We saw you on the TV.
Why was I on the TV?
We're watching you on the TV.
Oh, on YouTube?
Yeah, hi, Texas.
Oh, they're now talking to each other downstairs. Well, come sit here a sec, because I'm just going to finish up. But what we're talking about, body positivity. I don't know if you clocked that. Body positivity. What's your thoughts? Good.
Texas is shouting hi, Brooke.
Oh, Texas is just shouting hi, Brooke, because they've got the TV on downstairs. That's hilarious. So this week I'm talking about how we feel about our bodies. Have you got any insight into that? Like, should we feel good about my general point has been that there's lots of different versions of what beauty is, and that we should just be our best versions of ourselves. Agree? Yeah. She's agreeing. We can't see. They're saying hello, Brooke. And hey, hon. Oh, it's Hannah says hi.
Hi, Tex.
She just in
Texas, carry on building the mine on Bloxburg. Bye.
They're literally watching me on YouTube downstairs, which is hilarious. They're all saying hi to you anyway. Hi, Texas downstairs watching me on YouTube, which is hilarious. Yes, Alicia's just mentioned that I'm doing my podcast as well. So once a week, I'll be doing the podcast based on the theme of the week. This week is all about body image, and so that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm also on BBC Covent Warwick this afternoon, Monday, and every Monday at 5:30, where again I will be talking about the theme of the week. Next week, I'm going to be focusing on challenge, because here's Texas.
Hi, Brooke.
You're such nerds. I'm going to be focusing on choosing to challenge. Choosing to challenge is the theme for International Women's Day, so that's what next week is going to be about. So do definitely think about ways that you would like to challenge convention and challenge the norm. Do make sure to subscribe to my podcast, to this YouTube, to like on Facebook, and join my Happy Me Project Facebook group if you haven't already, and support another one's coming in. Oh, thank you, Hannah. Hannah binge watched my podcast. Do you want to come in a second? Breathe. Okay, one question. Right. Should people feel good or bad about the way that they look? And do you feel good about the way you look? Tell me something about this. Do you have anything to say? Today I'm talking about body positivity and feeling good about the way that you look.
Yeah.
And I've been saying like lots of different versions of beauty, that kind of thing. Do you have anything to add? No. Do you like yourself? Do you like the way that you look? Yeah, that's it. They're saying hello, Texas. Texas has the coolest hair, the most beautiful skin. Don't you have lovely skin? And beautiful, gorgeous little freckles on her nose that I love. I like your eyebrows. I like your blue eyes. I do like everything. You're right. I do like everything. And my daughters, as you can see, are both very different to me. You know, they're both blonde and blue-eyed. They're very different to look at than me. And they're both absolutely gorgeous. And I know I'm biased, but you know, if I can't be biased and think they're beautiful, who can, you know? So guys, thank you so much for all your lovely comments, and do follow everything wherever you are. Thank you for being here. You're incredible. Please do give everyone a little nudge that you know and think could value doing these, coming and sitting in these lives. I do them every Monday, 10-ish. Sometimes I change it up, but usually around 10 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on this subject, and I will speak to you all very soon. Peace. Thank you, Alicia.